Hello, you guys. Welcome to another episode of the Stubbs Show. I thank you for joining me yet again for another segment. Remember, if it wasn't for you guys, the show would not be growing. But since you guys are supporting the show, it is growing. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. The Stubbs Show is all about bringing you encouragement, helping you to build your faith, bringing you resources, and connecting you with the people that you need to connect with from all over the world that's going to help you to grow in life. I know everybody's calling things a podcast, but I like to look at the Stubbs Show as a variety talk show instead of a podcast because it's me bringing you open discussions, real discussions, and topics that we need to discuss right here live on the show all over the world. So I thank you guys for joining me. I have a great show lined up for you guys on today. We are going to be talking about saving the youth and the community. My special guest is going to be discussing things with me that we need to talk about, especially within our brown and black communities. Things are just falling all apart. And if we don't start as adults helping the children, I don't know what's to come for our grandchildren and great grands. But that's enough for me. Remember, like and share right now. Come on, share it. Let people know. Come on up in the room because the Stubbs Show is getting ready to get started. Let's get this show on. Welcome back to the Stubbs Show. I thank you guys once again for joining me. As I said before we started the show, tonight's show is all about saving our youth and the community, discussing those hard topics that we sometimes sweep under the rug or we hush or we just don't talk about but need to talk about. And my special guest on today is coming from the Washington, D.C. area, which is also where the Stubbs Show is based out of. So you see, I got my Washington, D.C. shirt on because we are the nation's capital. And because of that, we should be discussing those hard topics right here so that we can be an example of change. So I want to get into this brief these quick clips that I found on the news to kind of help us segue into introducing my guest to the show, because these are the things that are happening that's happening all over the world. So this topic with our youth and these teen takeovers is not just a DC thing. It's happening all over and it's becoming a problem. And I'm afraid that if us parents don't begin to speak up, we're going to have more parents losing their child to senseless acts of violence or being incarcerated. So let's take a quick look at these clips, and then I'll be right back here on the Stubbs Show. Don't go anywhere, you guys.
The Memorial Day holiday ended with another teen takeover in the city.
This one was at the 57th Street Beach, and Emmy Victor is there now with the latest on this. Emmy?
Well, Pat, I just spoke with the Chicago Police Department moments ago. They don't have any updates to share about this gathering here in Hyde Park yesterday. Video into our newsroom shows hundreds of teens gathering at the 57th Street Beach. Some people were even seen in handcuffs. It started with an alert from the University of Chicago Police, warning people about a teen takeover planned in Hyde Park on Memorial Day. That warning turned into a reality when hundreds of teenagers arrived at the 57th Street beach yesterday for the unauthorized gathering. This was the scene along the lakefront yesterday after 6 p.m. Dozens of Chicago police officers were on scene trying to disperse the crowd. Video shows at least 2 people being detained. It also looks like a Chicago police officer might have gotten hurt. You can see other officers helping him walk away from the crowd. An ambulance did show up shortly after, but we still don't know if anyone was actually taken to the hospital. The large gathering even caused lane closures on DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Office of Emergency Management sent out an alert at 7:45 p.m., warning drivers to avoid the thoroughfare near 57th Street. This is the second teen takeover making headlines for Memorial Day weekend. A driver has been charged with attempted murder after allegedly striking 5 police officers with a vehicle at a teen takeover Sunday morning on the near west side. Authorities say the officers were working to disperse the crowd when someone in a blue sedan drove towards them. It remains unclear whether anyone was arrested at last night's gathering. We're reporting live in Hyde Park. Emmy Victor, WGN News.
All right, Emmy.
We begin in Detroit with another case of senseless violence with life-altering outcomes tied to so-called teen takeovers. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 5. I'm Mike Duffy.
And I'm Glenda Lewis. 2 teenagers shot just about a week apart during these mass gatherings in Detroit, and the most recent just last night on the west side. Last week, we spoke with 14-year-old Tavon Clark, who was shot in the chest after a fight broke out during a teen takeover downtown. On Saturday, the 17-year-old accused of pulling the trigger was charged as an adult.
The teen takeovers have been causing problems for weeks.
It's the latest in a string of violent melees known as teen takeovers. This brawl taking over a Chipotle in Washington, D.C. The man in the red shirt on the right trying to protect his children. He says the video doesn't capture the worst of it.
It was like an ambush. It was just like a group of individuals. They looked like ninjas, dressed in black, ski masks, just piled into the main eatery.
D.C., like several other big cities, has a curfew for minors. Now the U.S. attorney is vowing to prosecute the parents of teens who violate it.
Where we can, we will prosecute you aggressively, and we will prosecute your parents. And I am not shy about looking for jail time. The people of the district have had enough.
Teen takeovers, often publicized on social media, have caused chaos nationwide, from shopping malls to parks like this one in Tampa, where 22 arrests were made. Arrests also made at this nearby trampoline park. And this chaotic scene recently in downtown Chicago, a crowd fleeing police after some teens started fighting, even tasing each other. Police there also warning they'll be strictly enforcing the city's curfew as we head into summer. In a separate
as you can see, the teen takeovers are getting out of control everywhere, and Washington, D.C. is beginning to start thinking about persecuting the parents for their teens being out of control. And I would love to hear what you guys have to say about that in your comments. So make sure you guys go over to the comment section, either on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and put your comments down there, or your response or your questions, whatever it is that you want to say, put it in the comment section and we'll put it up and possibly talk about it. But I don't want to keep you guys waiting, or my guest waiting, because he's in the studio right now waiting backstage. So I'm getting ready to introduce my special guest to the show. So you guys get ready. Hold on, we're getting ready to take another break, but when we come back, we're getting that show started. So welcome my guest to this show. Meet my special guest, Ebbon Allen. He's an educator, mentor, and community leader dedicated to empowering youth in Washington, D.C. Mr. Allen currently serves as a college preparatory advisor with CSFDC and has worked as an English teacher in local charter schools, as well as an academic coordinator for the Upward Bound program at Howard University. He is a graduate of Morehouse College, and Mr. Allen returned home to D.C. with a passion for mentoring young men and strengthening his community. His leadership and dedication to service even inspired him to run for city council in Ward 7. He is also a devoted husband and proud father of 3 boys. Please help me to welcome Mr. Ebbon Allen to the show. Yeah, I keep forgetting about my mic. Hey, Mr. Allen, welcome to the Stubbs Show. How are you feeling today?
How you doing, Miss Stubbs? And you pronounce it Ebbon Allen.
Eben,
Yes,
thank you
ma'am.
for that.
It's
Thank you
okay.
for correcting
It's
that. You
okay.
know, I don't like when
It's
people
okay.
mess my name up. So
It's okay.
thank you for that. So should we call
It's
you
okay.
Eben or Mr. Allen, or what are we doing
I
today?
mean, you can call me Ebbon. That's fine.
All right. Well, thank you for
Yep.
joining us here on the Stubbs Show, right out of the Washington, D.C. area, taking the time out for us to discuss our youth and our community. So you ready to
Yep.
get this started?
I am. I really am. And thank
All
you
right.
again for having me on the show. Really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, I see all the wonderful things that you're doing on Instagram. When I come on and I'm looking, and I always see that you're out there in the community, you're pushing resources. And I said, I got to bring him on a show for a topic to talk about the community since you're actually boots on the ground. So
Yes. Yes.
it was only right that I did that. But we're going
Yes.
to go ahead and get this interview started. And my first question for you on today is, what made you want to take that leap of faith and jump out there and begin to start helping in the community, especially within the Black community?
Well, Ms. Stubbs, for all due respect, I want to take a moment of silence for some of the young men that we've lost to gun violence in Washington, D.C. One is Tyel Coates, the other is Milo Young, and the other gentleman is Brady Flowers. I'd like to take a moment of silence for those young men. Thank you. Yes. So I graduated from Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. When I first got down to Morehouse College, I traveled down to Morehouse. I was interested in working with some of my older brothers who were upperclassmen at Morehouse. One gentleman by the name of Reginald Kaysen started doing work, mentoring and tutoring in a community called Bankhead, where T.I. grew up, Clifford Harris. And so I actually started tutoring some third graders. It was then what I knew that I wanted to give back to my community. Although I wasn't in Washington, D.C., I was able to work with some of the young third grade scholars and helping them with mathematics, reading, and literacy. And so I knew that was pretty much my pathway to calling of being able to give back. Those young men and those young ladies really inspired me and motivated me. Like, I want to devote my time to educating young people, especially at that grade level. And so I want to thank Reginald Kaysen for giving me that opportunity to go to the community of Bankhead in Atlanta, Georgia, to work with those young people. And they definitely motivated me.
All right. So what do you think or believe is the biggest challenge facing Black youth in the Washington, D.C. area right now?
Our young people feel invisible. They're really crying out. They're really reaching out. A lot of times we have so many young people doing great things, but then there's other young people that's making choices that's affecting a whole lot of individuals that's around them and that's surrounding communities. And so they're crying out. They're trying to get attention or grab attention, and sometimes grabbing that attention is not the right choice. Those are not the right decisions of being able to grab that attention. So I think they definitely they want to be heard. They want folks to listen to them. They want people to devote that time to be able to understand where they're coming from. We don't understand what they're dealing with in some of their homes. We don't understand some of the things they're dealing with in their own communities. We might even understand what's going on in their own schools. So it's so many different components and facets that affect our young people. And so, we really have to really keen in and really identify with some of the things that they're dealing with and facing and encountering on a daily basis.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And I heard you bring up the fact that we don't know what's going on in their home. And that made me think about, do you feel like a lot of our teens nowadays are lacking the support, the family dynamics and the family support?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, I believe COVID played a big contribution on how the society shaped up for our youth. A lot of them are still getting adjusted to school. A lot of them still getting adjusted to being out in the community and in their neighborhoods and being able just to be free and independent in certain ways. And so I think a lot of times they are definitely affected. Some of, my scholars, big brothers and big sisters, they're taking care of their young siblings. Also helping responsibility with their parents. You have so many single family homes, so many single moms, that might work 2 or 3 different jobs, and they're doing their best to try to raise their sons and raising their daughters. But again, everybody's situation and circumstance is different. And so, yeah, a lot of our scholars are definitely just trying to survive, just trying to make it a safe passage to get to school every day, a safe passage to make it home, safe passages to ride WMATA, public transportation, to here and there. So, yeah, those are keys that they're definitely being affected by, lack of family support, lack of role models, lack of father figures. That's definitely affecting and impacting their lives.
Yeah, and with a lot of parents, especially with it being single mom homes, and these mothers have to go to work, and some work in 2 and 3 jobs just to pay the bills and to keep up. And not being able to take care of their children and spend the proper time with them. You heard at the end of the clips that they're thinking about now providing consequences and possibly jail time to parents as a way to maybe enforce them to be more involved with their child. What do you think about that? Should the parent be at blame if they have to work 2 or 3 jobs?
Well, I think it's all about accountability, right? I think it's about relationships with our parents and with our young people. I think there's a lot of disconnect. There's a lot of lack of communication. I believe that Attorney General talked about there will be, I believe they'll get certain amount of chances, for these young people to make some of these mistakes. However, if it continues, then they have to have consequences. The curfew is only temporary, but I think, you have a few bad apples that's messing up for everybody. And so you have to hold some of those young people that's making those decisions, you have to hold them accountable. And if they're getting second and third opportunities, then yes, you have to, address the parents, right? But are we providing workshops, right? Are we providing resources for parents, right? Are we providing, all of things that some of the parents really have concerns about if their children are by themselves, or, they're going certain places where they're not telling them and communicating with their parents where they're actually going. I think, but accountability, yes. If you're giving, some of these young people, 2 or 3 different chances and opportunities to get it right, then you have to, start, holding the parents accountable. Because to me, I believe it's a wake up call, and it takes a village. I think we've gone away from the village mindset, and that's why I feel like the other issues of why our kids are suffering as well.
All right, now we're not trying to go to church. Now we just had that show like that because that's the truth. I'm telling you, the village is gone. Accountability, people standing together. Back in the days, we had brothers and sisters that had to take care of their younger siblings while their parents worked maybe 2 or 3 jobs. But the dynamics were different. The mom and the dad still ran the home from the workplace. Your mom could be across the street giving you a look, and that look straightened you right on up. Nowadays, we have children that's so disrespectful to their parents and grandparents that you don't know what to do, and uncles and aunts have given up on the child or the parent. So now they're mad at the child, and they're lacking a village of support like back in the days, because your aunt could whoop your butt back in the days. Your uncle could whoop your butt. Your neighbor could whoop your butt. The teacher whooped your butt. So the village was there. So my next question is, you mentioned young boys not having an identity. Why do you think so many young Black boys are struggling with identity, direction, and purpose?
Yeah, so I think as far as as African American men, I think all of us have been in these young men's shoes before. We were once in high school. We once also looked for identity. We also look for role models, mentorship, father figures, programs. And I believe the same thing is existing here in 2026. Our young men, it's not cool to be intelligent. It's not cool to be smart. It's what's influencing them outside of their home, outside of parenting. What are they experiencing? What are they being exposed to on a daily basis? Not enough positive influence throughout, as far as the country is concerned. When you're talking about Black role models, those, African American men that's actually going to be in the community, boots on the ground, building relationships with these young men, empowering them, not calling them YNs, but calling them young kings. So that all deals with identity. That all deals with, you have to identify that they're looking and searching for love. but what does love actually entail? How do you exemplify that? My grandmother always taught me that the proof is in the pudding, and love is an action word. And so, they're searching for love. Sometimes it's tough love. I think, like all of us growing up, I'm a 70s baby. It was all about structure. It's all about expectations. But our parents showed us, that tough love and expectations. But they showered us with unconditional love in some of our environments and within some of our communities. My mother raised me as a single mom in Southeast Washington, D.C. And so I pay homage and love to my mom about the sacrifices and commitment and dedication of, the importance of God, family, and education. So I believe, young men, they need to see more examples of, African-American men showing them that it's okay to have swag and have a 4.5 grade point average, and also find a way to become civically engaged. How do you become an advocate for your community when you can't rely and trust on political officials to get the job done? How, as my young brothers would say, we got to put the feet to the pedal and make a difference, but we have to do it collectively, and we have to also have positive energy, positive vibes to make our young men feel that they appreciate it, feel that they're loved.
I love it, collectively. That's the key word, collectively. And I heard you say that you were a 70s baby. And
Yes.
I know back in those days they had trades in the school. And it gave the children more things to do, and actually taught them how to use their hands or learn more skills. And I believe that needs to come back into the school system, because nowadays there's trades, but it's not many, and children don't have time for that. But if it was in the school, it gave them something to do after school. I can't think of the class it was where you built like the cars, you learned how to build the cars. What was the name of that class back in the day?
Engineering or
I know they had the home
dance.
ec, and then with the class where you had to build the race car before you got out there.
The auto class, the auto mechanic class, or engineering maybe.
Well, I'm an 80s baby. You 70s
Okay.
now. They didn't
Right.
have the auto mechanic class when they didn't have that trade, but I'm pretty sure they had it back then. But those things were taken out of the schools. And you mentioned, growing up in DC and how things were. So my next question was, as growing up in Ward 7 and now mentoring young people there, what changes have you seen in the community over the years?
Yeah, so Ward 7 is forever growing, right? It's at 90,000 constituents right now. Right now, we're talking about an election. It's like 60,000 registered voters to vote in this 2026 election. But I feel that there's a lot of development going on in Ward 7. But also, I see the new high schools, charter and DC public schools that's being built. There's one high school in particular, Ron Brown Prep High School, is the only all-male public high school in Washington, D.C., and it's located right there in Ward 7. And so those young men, they're the Monarchs. That's their mascot. They're employed, exemplified, empowered as young kings to be able to do well. They take dual enrollment classes. They have a lot of athletics, a lot of sports. But, that's one great high school. I think a lot of moms and fathers should look into, when you talk about public education, because you're looking at schools such as DeMatha, that's in Prince George's County, or Gonzaga, that's in Washington, D.C., but you have an all-male African-American public high school in our nation's capital, and that's in Ward 7. And, of course, I've started the Morehouse College Day, which we call the Lennon Long Junior Seminar. We've talked to over 1,500 young men, grade 7 through 12, about books over bullets, entrepreneurship, applying for scholarships and grants. And so I thank the Morehouse DC Alumni Association for pouring into my vision and my dream to reach these young men. So we've been able to talk to a couple of young men in schools such as Kelly Miller Middle School, H.D. Woodson Senior High School. And so, that's making a difference. And then you have nonprofit organizations that's been doing very well, such as the Trigger Project with Tia Bell. We're talking about gun violence. It's a public health crisis, a public health issue. And so you have those particular organizations that's making a difference and actually having open arms. And then there's a place in Southeast DC called the House DC, where they actually serve and have after school programs for high school scholars after they leave school. So we just got to be able to identify those spaces and resources and programs, that's navigating and again, being boots on the ground to keep our residents and constituents involved. And then, of course, you have recreational center. I was a strong advocate for the Woody Ward Recreational Center that's now, it used to be called Bennett Park Rec Center. And so my advocacy, Mayor Bowser put $11.2 million in that rec center where they offer boxing, They offer flag football. They offer basketball, dance clubs, gaming. So, those are particular things sometimes that you'll see if you're navigating through Ward 7 of what's to come and what we're excited about. And then, of course, the RFK Stadium is coming to what's that, Kingman Park. And so that's on the other side of Ward 7. But on the east side of Ward 7, where I live in Marshall Heights, we still have a whole lot of work to do. There's a lot more advocacy, right? There's still more development that we need. We're in a food desert. So that the fight continues. And so we still have to have boots on the ground to get these things accomplished. And so I think there's a lot of young men that are watching, the gentleman my age and seeing and observing how we're moving and navigating as far as our advocacy, right? And not just providing broken promises, but actually being a man of your word. You have to stand 10 toes down and be a man of your word, because your word is everything.
I love it. I thought you was about to go deeper into that. I was going to give you the whole screen by yourself while you talked about it. I thought you was going to look. I scooted up like, hold on, let me give him the whole screen by himself. He about to go tell these men what they need to hear. But, I'm glad that oh, my God, when you said that, everything else just like left my mind. But I do remember what I do want to discuss is you brought up the rec centers. And one day I brought up a great idea. And I was like, how about the kids going to the community rec centers? And one thing that a child brought up is with the gentrification and the breaking down of the projects, as they would call them, in certain neighborhoods, these children have been and families have been scattered all over Washington, D.C. And now their local rec center isn't where they're used to growing up at, or the people that they tend to hang out with, and they have these rivals going on, or gangs, or whatever you call them. So a lot of the teens feel like, I can't go to the rec center in the neighborhood where I live at because that's not where I grew up at, and there's a beef. How do we even fix that? That's a problem. How do you feel about when Mayor Bowser or whoever came in and started breaking up the neighborhoods like Berry Farms and other communities?
Yeah. So yesterday, I believe Memorial Day, there were 3 individuals shot in the Bennett Park community. Two of those young men were juveniles, right? I actually know one of the young men. We're still praying for him. He's definitely dealing with his injuries. But Woody Ward Rec Center is the recreational center that's by the Bennett Park Apartments. Something that I advocated in the Fort for. And so programming is key, right? It's building relationships, with the community at large. You have to be in the know. You have to be engaged. And you have to, listen to what the residents and constituents need, what they ask, what their request. And so some of the young men, even the young man that was shot yesterday, he talked to me about this, there's not enough activities and programs for the young gentleman in Woody Ward Rec Center. So we got to be transparent and truthful, right? And sometimes folks are telling me, well, some of the parents, they need to come to the rec center. Well, that's twofold. You also have to get your team of people to knock on these doors and be able to communicate with some of these folks. Everybody doesn't have accessibility to social media. So it's critical and important that, you actually show and demonstrate with these young people and their families about what resources and programs that you can offer. I believe for myself that DPR eventually one day should be 24 hours, right? If the kids can't go to the Navy Yard or downtown to the waterfront, then where our rec centers? Rec centers should be open. One rec center should be open in every single ward. That's just the bottom line. And that's very important so that our scholars and our young people and our families can know that they have a place to go. Because everyone that's going to the Navy Yard, they said that, idle time is the devil's playground. And so we have to give these families those resources and opportunities, because I'm tired. I know you're tired. I know that the city and the country is tired, this youth gun violence. And we have to find some way to stop the bleeding.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I need to get a clap sound or the audience. We see your comments coming in, you guys. Shout out to you, Gail Perkins, 4275, for your comments. She said, Ebbon. I need to get Ebbon. Mr. Allen equals strong.
That's right. Mr. Allen's fine.
Yeah, we're getting ready to take a quick break. But before we go to break, I just have to ask this question because it came to my mind. I know you ran for city council for Ward 7, but what happened to mayor? I'm just saying, have you ever thought about that?
Yes, I have future ambitions, right? But it's been my wife and my 3 sons. It's been family time. right? And I've been dedicated in other areas of making contributions and commitment to my community. But right now it's just being a devoted husband and a proud father of my 3 boys. So with any work and sacrifice and commitment, you have to prioritize that family. So, but yeah, definitely something I've considered. But right
Okay.
now it's just right now. We will have a Juneteenth parade on June 19th. So hopefully you can stop by. It's going to be in Ward 7 on Pennsylvania Avenue and Branch Avenue. And so hopefully we can get the entire city to come to our Juneteenth parade. June
Okay, over
19th.
there,
Yeah.
where the old CVS used to be,
Yeah,
by
and it's going to
Planet
end
Fitness.
right. And
Okay.
actually they'll conclude everything at Randall Circle. Yes, on
Okay,
Pennsylvania Street.
okay,
Mhm.
okay. Well, we'll
Yeah.
make sure we get more information out about that on the Stubbs
Sure.
show. You guys, we
Sure.
getting ready to take a quick break with my special guests as we talk about saving the youth and the community. And let me tell you, I'm loving everything he's saying because I'm throwing the questions out there and he ain't scared to respond. So you guys don't go anywhere. Matter of fact, while we on break, go ahead and hit that share button and let people know to tune into the Stubbs show and bring your comments forth or your questions. And we'll see if we have enough time to bring them on to the show. I'm so excited. Let's just take a quick break. I'll be right back here on the Stubbs show. All right, you guys, here's what's coming up next on the Stubbs show. On May 27th, join me for the Great Debate. I will be conducting an interview with DC mayoral candidate Dr. Rhonda Hamilton. She wants your vote this November, so I'll be asking her questions about her agenda to see if she deserves your vote. So make sure you join me for that interview. Also, coming up on June 1st, we will be talking about healing those hidden wounds. We all have them. So make sure you join me for this discussion as my special guests will be Kimberly Ross and Kimberly Conti. That show will start at 7 p.m. Also, I am calling all the mothers who have experienced a loss of their child due to gun violence. The Stubbs Show wants to assist you with raising awareness. So if you have lost your child to gun violence and you're looking to raise awareness for your case, then make sure you connect with us. We want to help you share what needs to be shared so that you can get the attention that you need. All right, you guys, remember, connect with us via email at thelofnetwork@gmail.com and set those calendars so that you won't miss an upcoming show.
Hello, this is Angel Y, owner of Home Helpers of Waldorf, Maryland. Are you in the Southern Maryland region and in need of non-medical in-home care? Well, maybe we can assist you. Some of the services that we provide are assisting with bathing, medication reminders, companion care, and so much more. Check out our website to see all the wonderful ways that we can assist you at www.homehelpershomecareofwaldorfmaryland.com. We also are providers for our veterans. I look forward to hearing from you.
Hello, this is PW Wedding Officiant. Let's make it official. Contact us today. Today. Contact us today.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Stubbs Show. I hope you enjoyed that brief break. Remember, if you are looking for a place and a home for your business or brand commercials, we are here to assist. Just make sure you connect with us at the LOF Network at gmail.com Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can email us there. Now, before we left, we were talking with my special guest, Mr. Allen, from out of the Washington, D.C. area. And today's topic is saving our youth and the community. So I'm getting ready to welcome back to the show so we can get back into our interview on today, because it was just getting real spicy, juicy, and hot, because he's keeping it 100. I can tell you that much. Now, before we left, you mentioned being a father, and a husband, and you're
Right.
also a community leader. So
Yes.
how, as a husband and a father of 3 boys, how has fatherhood changed your perspective on saving our youth?
I thank my wife, for 9 years for supporting what I've been doing as far as my advocacy, but also just, supporting my dreams and ambitions of being able to give back to the community. So pretty much everyone that's known my work and my commitment and dedication to my community definitely should be thanking Mrs. Allen for being the support and the engine that helps me thrive. It's been important, to balance. It's time management, like they tell a lot of scholars in school and in college, is about time management. So time management has been important to be a husband and to be a father. But I believe that it's important to devote that time to the family, but also looking at young men. They need their fathers, but they need dedicated fathers, committed fathers that's going to have open arms. That's sometimes also can be nurturing. I think that makes a difference. I think a lot of our young men do not have that. They don't have those resources. They don't have the opportunity. They're not connected, to their fathers or male figures, or like you just stated, uncles and even grandfathers, or even male role models. And so for me, mentorship has just been embedded in me. It's been something that's been a passion of mine because I lost my dad when I was 12 years young. My dad was only 35 years young when he passed away. And so pretty much I understand that having positive male figures and male figures that know that we're in a fight to change the trajectory of our young men, being able to be successful, be in a safe space, knowing that they're loved, and knowing that they're going to make a difference in this world. And with my 3 sons, it's like full circle. Just to understand that what I didn't have with my father, losing him while he was a young man, and just being here for my 3 boys, every last one of them, they have their own personalities. They can see dad shedding tears. They can see dad loving their mom, but they also can see their father, running for DC Council and actually wanting to make a difference. And so, I know the legacy after me, they're going to do 100 times better than what I've done. Just like my father before he passed, he said, "I don't want you to settle for mediocrity. I just want you to eventually learn that you got to become a game changer. You just got to believe in yourself." And that's what we have to instill in our young men, that when they don't believe in themselves, we're going to be right there with them to show them that we believe and trust and love on them.
Shout out to Mrs. Allen. Behind every man is a strong woman. Yeah, well,
Yes.
every strong man is a stronger woman. I ain't gonna say every
Right.
man because it ain't for everybody. But shout out to her for being supportive, of you and all the leaps of faith and things that you're doing out in the community to help us. And I know we've been talking about the youth and what they need, and you just brought up our Black men and fathers. But do you believe that the fathers have enough resources, and have enough, support for them to be a better father? Because I'm pretty sure with life getting hard, especially as a Black man in America, some have wanted to quit and give up and feel as if they don't have anyone to speak to. Do you believe that there's enough resources for our Black men to be better fathers?
Not even. I can tell you about one program that impacted me. It's called District Dads. That's in Southeast Washington, D.C. District Dads is spearheaded by Matthew Miller. This is a 17-week program where fathers come. We have courses. We have opportunities to, take some workshops on certification. And so it's been very monumental with that 17-week course because we have so many questions, but we don't have the space or capacity to be able to share what fatherhood entails, what it entails with dealing with, our wives, also with our spouses, with our girlfriends, or just, being a single dad and trying to raise your son as a single father. We don't have enough space or enough organization and programs that can introduce that to our particular communities, especially we talk about east of the river. That's Ward 7 and Ward 8. I believe a district DAG organization under Martha's Table should be in every ward in Washington, D.C. And those type of programs should be centered across the city, where fathers come together, unified, also being vulnerable to talk about some of their struggles of what it takes to be not just a Black man, but a father in this society. And some of our being afraid or, just being, not understanding, what predicaments some of our sons and our daughters are dealing with when we're not with them 24/7. So, it definitely needs to be done. There are maybe other programs such as the Father Factor. Father Factor is also in Southeast Washington, D.C. that center around supporting fathers who dealt with gun violence. And so, that those programs are important. But I think we need more father programs, Black men programs, Black men circles, where we can, have the safe space and just be vulnerable and transparent about our everyday struggles. And how do we learn from one another of how we can overcome that? But also, how do we learn that the power of breaking cycles? What does breaking cycles look like? And it's okay, to get therapy or get counseling, right? Because that's key. We don't have anybody to talk to. A lot of time we internalize, a lot of that toxic. A lot of times we take that toxic with us to our graves. But we're in a life now where we have the opportunity to be able to be vulnerable and share, some of our issues that we deal with on a daily basis.
I'm telling you, I was going to ask you to take about 30 to 60 seconds and send a message directly to absent fathers, but you said enough. And I hope that they have taken this in. To all my listeners who know of programs for dads and for fathers and or teens, please drop them in the comment section so we can start showing them on the screen. I tried to type in some of the names like the Father Factor and the other names that you brought up while you were talking. I tried to get them in, but if you guys can put them in the comment section, we would definitely be able to bring them up. Ronald, the Fleer, or hey, I'm not good with the names. DC Department of Behavioral Health needs to partner with community activists. That is definitely a true statement. We don't know if that's going to happen, but with Mr. Allen stepping into place, maybe we can bring some of those things forth. And to piggyback off of what Ronald said, my next question is, do you think that enough is being done by city leadership to address the youth violence and poverty and assisting with therapy and mental health?
Not at all. I think election season, a lot of our young people are ignored. They're invisible. There is no space and capacity where our young people can be heard. There is no space or capacity where, a lot of these folks that's running for these all public official offices, that they're able to listen to our young people. I think we have to change that narrative. We have to find the time to be able to have a listening ear, because we don't have all the answers as grownups. Our parents didn't have all the answers with us. So we have to take the time and accountability, right? Don't just, say we're going to become proactive after the fact or after a young person has been shot. Let's try to find out some preventative measures to work together, because everybody's not going to win a race. Everybody's not going to become mayor. Everybody's not going to become a councilman. Everybody might not even become an ANC commissioner or alderman. However, what are you doing once you lose, right? How are you going to become proactive once June 16th is over? What's your next phase if it doesn't go in your favor? So we gotta be realistic about that, because at the end of the day, we still have to be servants of the people. And that's what we signed up to do, right? And so I always look at, how would I want somebody to look after my family? How would I want somebody to be able to provide resources to my wife and my 3 sons, education, great quality grocery stores, nice restaurants, plenty of amenities that we need. There are a lot of communities, marginalized communities, they don't have accessibility to. So we have to change that. And I think hopefully, with the new mayors that's coming, hopefully in 2027, that they'll take real critical, keen eye on how we can address our youth and how we can serve and save them, and also provide that safe space. If you have a youth advisory board or a youth council, such as one candidate, Ms. Candace Nelson, she talked about, having a youth council, so they'll be able to learn about legislation and policy That's going to be the game changer, because all of us, we're not going to be here on earth forever. So how do we pass the baton and show our young people that civic engagement can be a life changer?
I love it. I love it. Before we go to break, my last question before we take this quick break is: you once ran for city council in Ward 7. What inspired you to step into that leadership, the political leadership?
Yeah, so I was once an ANC commissioner for 2 terms. ANC commissioners are also public officials that represent 2,000 constituents within their particular community. And so with that, I dealt with economic development, I dealt with public safety, I dealt with education. And so if Ward 7 has 90,000 constituents, all 90,000 are a key priority. Right. I want everyone to feel that they're loved, they're appreciated, and they have strong advocacy, so we can make our ward one of the best wards, and just make DC one of the best cities in the world. But that takes dedication, commitment, honesty, and like, again, collaboration. Because even as a mayor or a councilman, you don't have all the answers, right? So you have to find some trust, and you have to have some buy-in with those other leaders that can make your particular community and your city a more vibrant and more powerful one. So it was a great journey. My wife, my 3 boys were able to take that journey with me. I was able to meet so many great constituents and residents of Ward 7 and learn so much from those residents. Even it was 9 people in the race, 10 altogether, including myself. But it was a great journey to be able to sit down and just listen to what the constituents and residents of Ward 7, what they need, and how do we create a better future, a greater society. And not just for us, but definitely for our youth and for our little ones that's coming after us.
Yeah, like you said, it was an experience and a journey and preparation for something in the future. Sometimes you just got to get your feet wet, see what to expect, and then, come back a little bit later. But I thank you for joining us here on the Stubbs Show. We're getting ready to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and get ready to close out this interview. But one other thing that you said that stuck out is that everybody's not going to make it as the mayor. Everybody's not going to make it as a council member or as ANC, but you can still play your part in this village and bringing forth a change. And I think that's where people miss out. Whereas though, if they can't be the mayor or have a title before their name, then it's, well, I'm not going to do anything. But at the end of the day, one thing that I would like to point out is, with us being Black and brown people, if you don't step up as you see what's happening, gradually it's just going to keep getting worse. And one day you're going to look back and it's going to be too late for you to jump in on a race to help, because we didn't have enough people when the army first started, But now the war is really here, and we're going to be losing out. So, I thank you for pointing that out. But we getting ready to take a quick break. Hold on, you guys, and I will bring some of your comments. Listen, while we're taking this quick break, you guys, put all your comments in the comment section, so that when we come back from our break, we can bring those forth, maybe discuss it a little bit with Mr. Allen before we get ready to end his interview on today. Yet again, I thank you guys for joining me on this Tuesday. Remember, like, comment, and share, repost, because we got to get this information out there. And although we are hailing out of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, no matter what state you're in, these problems and these concerns are happening within your community and need to be changed. These are the discussions that we need to have. I understand y'all got all that stuff on TV, the baddies and the housewives and all those other things, but you need to step away from that to make time to discuss what's going to happen. Because I like what Mr. Allen said, that part of his reason for running and what inspired him is he wanted to do things to help that would benefit his wife and his sons, things, the things that's within the generations to come. It wasn't just a personal thing or clout, or he just wanted to do it because he feel like he should. He's already boots on the ground. And that's the thing. I believe that anybody running should already be boots on the ground. And I'm talking about not just started, but years boots on the ground. The community should know your name. Let's get ready to take a quick break, you guys, here on the Stubbs Show. I thank you for joining on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Listen, I might got to start going on TikTok next, getting it out there. But I thank you guys for joining. We get ready to take another quick break, and we'll be right back here on the Stubbs Show. Don't you guys go anywhere. Let me see what we going to. Here we go. Really quick. We take it on back.
This is TW Wedding Officiant. Let's make it official. Contact us today. Today. Contact us today.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Stubbs Show. Quick shout out, really quick. I meant to have this right here. Shout out to Dr. Angelo Reynolds. I'm reading the book, you guys. He was a guest on the show. You guys make sure you check out his book, A Transforming You. Once I finish reading the book, I will give you guys a review and possibly bring him back on the show to talk more about it. Yesterday's show was great. It was about the power of transformation, something that we need to do to elevate within our life. Remember, you guys, you can always connect with me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at The Stubbs Show. Slide up in my DMs, shoot me an email, ask a question, whatever it is. But I'm there on those platforms to connect with you. Now, today's show is all about saving our youth and the community. I'm telling you, if you are just logging in on this live, you need to wait until the live is processed and then go back and re-listen to this interview, especially if you are someone who's a community leader or a parent and concerned about our youth and saving our community. You need to go back, re-listen, and then also repost this show. Because as I stated before, if we don't start taking steps for change, the change won't happen. So I'm getting ready to bring my guest back to the stage. And before I allow him to leave, I have two more questions for you, Mr. Allen, before we end this show. And before we get into that, let's bring up what Miss Gail Perkins, or Gail Perkins. I don't know if it's a Miss or Mr., but Gail Perkins.
Mrs. Gail
Okay,
Perkins.
Mrs. Okay. Thank you for correcting that, because I didn't know. I didn't want to be wrong.
Right,
But
Mrs.
we
Gail
thank you
Perkins.
for your support on today. She commented, let's start where we are in our present positions and please be who you are on paper. And I'm pretty sure that comment was relating to when we spoke about people running for a position or wanting the title. And then we get them in for 4 years or 2 or maybe longer, and they never do what needs to be done, especially in our Ward 7 and 8 communities. And that's why I had to bring people like you on to really talk about what needs to be done. So my next question for you is, do you believe that the system is failing Black youth, or has the community stopped believing in itself?
That's like a twofold question. I definitely believe that we've given up on the youth because we've gone away from the village mindset, right? I mean, you just can't work and educate our youth in the school systems. You have to, take a community approach with helping our youth and supporting our youth, and not just supporting our youth, but supporting our families. And so it has to, you have to encompass of being able to provide, resources, for those youth. Like I said, if a recreational center was 24/7, a lot of our youth probably would go into those recreational centers. Even if our schools were 24 hours in a day, a lot of our young people would stay at those schools. A lot of our young people again, trying to look for love and looking for attention and folks that's going to be connected, right? Because you have so many folks, they might be at happy hour or they might be, playing basketball or just doing other recreational things. But how many folks are really taking the time to say, you know what, I'm going to stop just complaining and I'm not just going to keep identifying what the youth are not doing, but let's find out some ways and solutions of what the youth are doing. Let's talk about those scholars that have full scholarships to go to college. Let's talk about those young people that started their own business. We just have to be connected. Our society, yes, we're in troubled times. When you're talking about elections, when you're talking about the family, everything is basically on social media. A lot of folks, they don't even sit at the table and have dinner anymore. What happened to those days, we 70s, 80s babies, our grandparents and our aunts and uncles and our loved ones, we had, dinner, we had lunch, we had cookouts, the fun things, right? Those things no longer exist. And there's so many families and so many communities that's disconnected, and folks are trying to find ways and find the spaces of, rekindling that love, rekindling that friendship, or making amends with folks that you said that you'd love and make sacrifices for, and so I think we one day at a time, I think we can become stronger again, right? But it's going to take all of us to believe in that. We have to buy into that. It's like everybody have their own philosophy and their own beliefs. But we have to again, like it sounds cliche, but trust the process. We got to trust in each other, right? 3 T's, I would say: time, trauma, and transparency. We have to live by that. You have to live by that. And a lot of us are running out of time, right? So what are you doing with the time, right? If I'm born in 1970 something, there's a dash, and then there's my last day. What have I done to impact my society? Not just my wife, my 3 sons, but how do I impact the people around me, right? Yeah. And I think if we come with that mindset and that vision, all of us are visionaries. We just got to tap into it. All of us are leaders. We just have to tap into it, because once we can exemplify and show our young people that they're leaders, they'll become visionaries, and then they'll be able to follow the steps to be able to do that. Some of my young men said, well, why did you choose Morehouse? I said, Morehouse was going to change my life. And eventually, through some of my trauma and some of my journey, Morehouse ended up saving my life, right? And so there could have been a whole lot of different other places of how my life could have turned out. But to God be the glory, great things he's done. And that he kept his hand on me, and I've always trusted him. And whatever religion that you believe in, you got to find something that you trust in, because the spirituality thing is real. It's real, and I love God with all my heart, and that's how I'm able to love my family, my wife, my 3 sons, and my entire community, because of the love of God, and God is love, and so we have to understand that, we've gone away from that, right? You're talking about faith-based organizations. Faith-based organizations need to open up their doors as well and do more community outreach.
Okay.
It's gonna make a difference.
Listen, I said we can rate in the show. Okay. Didn't I just say we can rate in the show? Now you bringing up stuff that's will take a while. Now let me tell you, we got so many homeless people and hurting people.
Yeah,
the church doors are closed more than they used to be back then. They're not open enough, or you got to pay them, or it's got to be an election year. The campaign going on, but then they'll jump out there and do something drastic to help the people. But they want you to pay the tithes all the time. But that's another show. Listen, tomorrow we're having a DC mayoral candidate on by the name of Dr. Rhonda Hamilton. Y'all make sure you come through. Mr. Allen, you make sure you come on through with questions that I might forget. You put them in the comment section, because I'm going to make sure I bring yours on right on up in there. And we have some other candidates coming up soon, so stay tuned. I might got to bring you on the co-host with me with some of this stuff coming up. The next person that want to run, I'm bringing Mr. Allen on, and he's going to get up in your business now. I might not be political, but he is. So,
Right. That's right.
so you
That's
make
right.
sure you back your girl. I thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on with your open honesty and
Yeah.
without no fear of saying what needs to be said. Because
No
sometimes
question.
we got to knock on one another's door. We got to
That's
get
right.
in each other's face, and we got
That's
to
right.
scream loud for what needs to be said, because we
That's right.
screaming all this other stuff, but we're not screaming what we need to be talking about to bring forth change. Shout out to all the organizations that you brought up. If they are happening to be listening today, or you hearing it
Yes.
playback, connect with me. He put you out there so you could come on the show so we can, bring more attention and highlight to what you're doing and why people need to also focus on you. I thank you, Mr. Allen, again so
Thank you,
much
Mr.
for
Stubbs.
coming on and
Thank
talking
you.
about what you said. Let the people know how they can connect with you and anything that you need to plug, any events, books,
Yes.
songs, whatever it is, put it out there so that people can not only support you, but back
Yes.
you in what you're doing in the future.
No question. Well, definitely look up the College Success Foundation. That's the organization that I'm a part of. We work with young people in Ward 7 and in Ward 8. Also, you can follow me on Facebook at Ebbon Allen. That's Ebbon. Last name Allen, Allen. On Instagram is Mr. MR period E Allen on Instagram. Don't forget, June 19th, there will be the Juneteenth parade in Ward 7. Please bring your family, your friends, your loved ones. Small businesses. We also have vendors, spaces where you can become a vendor on that day, June the 19th. Let's celebrate Juneteenth as a national holiday for African Americans. Again, Ms. Stubbs, it's been an honor and a pleasure to share this space and this opportunity on your podcast and continue to do the work and impact and change lives, one family, one kid, and one community at a time. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Listen, I'm getting it all together. This was a leap of faith now. This was a leap of faith. Leap of faith. But
Understood.
it's pulling right on together. But I was going to ask you one last question, but you did good enough. I thank you for coming on to the show, and I hope that the people
Pleasure.
follow you and support you. We
My
will
pleasure.
be resharing and reposting your stuff. So make sure you get us the flyer for the Juneteenth event so that we can get that up on the show for the upcoming events. So inbox me that. Before we let you go, I want to bring up one more comment, and then we're going to get ready to end the show with a local independent rap artist by the name of Gerard Street Gary from the area, and he's out in the community also. But Andrea Newell said, great call to action for everyone, regardless of the ward we live in, Mr. Allen. This is a global issue. We all need to do our part.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. It's a global issue.
Yeah, I
Thank you, Ms.
agree.
Newell.
Gail put up impacting generations that souls. You guys make sure you check that out. All right, Mr. Allen, I thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Ms.
I will
Stubbs.
stay connected with you and make
Okay.
sure you get me all the flyers for the events and anything that you have coming up so that we can repost and share on the Stubbs Show.
Thank you, Ms. Stubbs. Everyone
All
have a great
right. I
evening.
thank you. I thank you. I thank you. All right, you guys, man, that was a great interview. It is people like him that are actually out in the community doing the work that needs to be done that benefits our children and benefits the generations to come. Many times, sometimes we could be doing more as parents and as people, and we haven't been out there being boots on the ground. So I hope that this interview pushed you to do more in your community and be the change that we need to see without a title. Remember, on tomorrow's show, I'm going to be having Dr. Rhonda Hamilton on. She's a DC mayoral candidate. So I'm going to be asking her some of those tough questions and some of the things that we talked about on today. I'm going to see what she has to say. You guys show up with your questions, show up with your comments, put them in there so that I can make sure that I bring them up to her and ask her to see if she deserves your vote. I think I may have some other people that's running for positions and seats coming up next week, but stay tuned to the Stubbs Show. Right now, let's get ready to get into our closing video for today. Remember, I'm looking for videos. I'm looking for more guests. I'm looking for commercials. I'm looking for your free community events from all over the world that you want more people to know about. If you have free classes, you can, and courses and workshops that you offer, send them to me so we can put them up in the show to let the world know. The Stubbs Show have had guests all the way from the UK on the show. So we are growing all over. So make sure you guys connect with me so that we can get your brand and your business out there to the world. But here's a local artist from the Washington, D.C. area, the nation's capital. That's what we're representing on today, on today's show. I thank you guys once again. How do you do it? I be always wanting to do this like a Bama. I'm such a Bama when I want to do this. They be doing all this and stuff. I be like, I don't even do it right sometimes, but I be wanting to do it. All right, you guys, remember, hit the like button and the follow on you subscribe on YouTube, on Facebook, and also Instagram. I thank you guys. I love you for the support. Without you, the show would not be growing. All right, let's get ready to end this. I got to make sure I find the right file. I need some help. Somebody want to come in and help be a moderator? I need that. I'm also looking for a blogger. Somebody, if you vlog or blog and you're looking for more attention, you want to spread your brand more, come be a part of the show. Here we go. Let's end it.
Every morning that a nigga wake, I leave the crib to go and get it. I do. Oh, and I ain't going back to the crib unless I'm coming back with it. No way. Oh, Lord knows I ain't perfect. Nah. But he know I hustle for a purpose. When it comes to the grind, I'm a servant. So when you see me shine, I deserve it. See me shine, nigga. Look me in my eyes, I'm determined. Y'all know where I come from, man. Got it out the mud, you know that's obvious. A few years ago, the plug tried starving us. Being broke is a zero tolerance. Hit the field, went for the kill like Spartacus. Go hard for mine, non-stop grind. Round the clock grind, morning to dark time. Turn my losses and struggles into multiple hustles. Came up with systematic schemes to fill up the duffel. Every nigga on your team is a piece of the puzzle. So when a nigga switch sides, he ain't really love you. What you know about loyalty? Fuck going to a club. Would you niggas go to war with me? Tell the truth. Would you lie in the course for me? Fuck rap. This is real nigga poetry. See, I'm like Langston Hughes with some gangster views. They say paper rules, so I'm making moves. Every morning that a nigga wake, I leave the crib to go and get it. Oh, and I ain't going back to the crib unless I'm coming back with it. Oh, Lord knows. Why hustle to pay the rent? Hustle like Larry Flint. Own equity, invest in Merrill Lynch. Fix your credit score, get you a thorough bitch. Buy your mama crib, now that's some thorough shit. Every morning that a nigga wake, I leave the crib to go and get it. Oh, and I ain't going back to the crib unless I'm coming back with it. Oh, Lord knows I ain't perfect, but he know I hustle for a purpose. When it comes to the grind, I'm a servant. So when you see me shine, I deserve it. Look me in my eyes, I'm determined. Talk to him. Man, I feel just like I'm Eddie Mathis. Blackwell trench coat when I conceal them ratchets. Somehow it makes me feel I'm controlling the madness. Zoned out funnel, J blowing slow as molasses. Stuck in traffic, thinking about residuals. Diversify, let's make some millions off of minerals. Fuck thinking small, flip it, make it plentiful. 5-star, that mean you dealing with a general. I move strategic, it was written in Morse code, only a few can read it. My goal is to go down one of the truest leaders. When I go, bury me in the tombs of Egypt. Stand firm on what you believe in, heaven or hell, dead or in jail. Can't be scared to rebel, you wanna excel. Niggas ain't getting no mail, they vision is frail. I know niggas in the feds paying rent from a sale. Oh.